When the female version of Ben Shapiro sets her sights on someone, there's pretty much nowhere to hide. And right now, Brett Cooper has officially entered the chat, and she's not pulling any punches. As the rising star of The Conservative, media giant The Daily Wire, Brett has quickly become Gen Z's new favorite voice for hot takes, celebrity commentary, and unapologetic opinions. Whether you love her bold style or can't stand her, there's no denying she's breathed new life into a channel that was once seen as too stiff and serious. This time, her attention has turned toward another Snow White, actress Rachel Zegler, who's been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Zegler, who's playing the lead in Disney's new live-action Snow White, has found herself smack in the middle of internet chaos. Once considered a rising star, she's now becoming a polarizing figure in Hollywood, with fans and critics calling her out left and right. And Brett? She's not holding back. Her latest YouTube video calling out Zegler's controversial takes has absolutely blown up, turning Brett into a viral sensation almost overnight. Think of it like a high school drama. If Hollywood were a school, Rachel Zegler would be the once popular girl losing favor fast, and Brett Cooper just walked in wearing the prom queen crown. So what exactly sparked this digital drama? Why is Rachel Zegler being dragged all over the internet by fans, critics, and now media personalities? Let's break down the tale of the two Snow Whites and why this fairy tale turned into a full-blown feud.
Not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
So, newsflash, people's love for Rachel Zegler is basically gone. That's why Disney's new Snow White actress has totally lost the popularity vote. It all started with a viral clip of Zegler talking about how the new Snow White movie will have a modern twist. That twist? There's no prince. Yep, Prince Florian won't be in the movie at all. So if you were hoping for a classic, happily ever after love story, you're out of luck. Fans were already annoyed with how much Disney changed from the original 1937 version. First, they cast a Latina actress to play Snow White, who has always been described as having skin as white as snow. Then, the movie barely includes the 7 dwarfs. There's only one actual dwarf in the whole film. The internet exploded and people started trending, "Disney is over party." Eventually, Disney had to change the movie's title to just Snow White since it doesn't really feature the 7 dwarfs anymore. Brett Cooper noticed all of this, and she wasn't the only one. Her fans backed her up right away, especially because Disney seemed to be selling a movie that didn't match its own name. But what really fired Brett up was Rachel's comment that women don't need love to be complete. Zegler basically said, "It's 2023, not 1937, and she doesn't want her character to depend on a prince." In fact, she even called the prince creepy and said falling in love with him would be the last thing she'd want her character to do. So yeah, Snow White isn't getting saved by a prince this time. And that's exactly where the internet debate exploded.
Oh, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
In the upcoming Snow White movie, the classic fairy tale is getting a major rewrite. Instead of falling in love with Prince Florian and riding off into the sunset, Snow White will now follow the advice of her late father and carve out her own destiny. No prince, no fairy tale romance, just independence and self-discovery. You'd think Rachel Zegler, who plays Snow White, would want to keep things calm considering how much backlash the film has already gotten online. But nope, she went all in and basically poured gasoline on the fire. In a now viral interview, Rachel called Prince Florian a creepy stalker who's only obsessed with Snow White's looks. She claimed that removing him from the movie is actually a favor to all women, saying it sends a more empowering message. And well, that kind of comment doesn't go unnoticed, especially on the internet, where people are quick to react and even quicker to cancel. Naturally, Brett Cooper wasn't about to stay quiet. She fired back at Zegler, criticizing her for acting like every woman is tired of love, marriage, or building a life with a man. Brett argued that this anti-romance attitude isn't some new feminist standard. It's just a passing trend that not everyone agrees with. And judging by the flood of support she got in her comment section, she clearly struck a chord. Fans were all over her video, praising Brett for saying what they were already thinking. Her calm but sharp response didn't just earn her points, it made her even more popular. For many, it felt like Brett was standing up for classic storytelling, timeless romance, and the idea that being strong and falling in love aren't mutually exclusive.
Launching my campaign.
I am. Why do they look so smug? They both have that look on their face, just like the feminists, like, yeah, we're so much better than you. And
Snow White can be a girl boss and still come home to Prince Florian, right? I mean, in the original story, she gets married and still ends up as a beloved leader. But Rachel Zegler doesn't agree. She thinks love and leadership can't go hand in hand. And of course, Brett Cooper wasn't having any of that. Brett could have brought the receipts. After all, she's basically Daily Wire royalty. Multiple degrees, former child actor, her own show, and yep, she's married too. Fans were quick to call out Zegler's take as unfair. Plenty of women balance romance and ambition. Why not Snow White? Both Zegler and Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, have been doing interviews claiming they're making the story more relevant. But let's just say the internet did not like what they had to say. Some folks think Rachel Zegler is in her flop era because she keeps walking into online hate storms. Many fans are saying the cast completely missed the point. Fairy tales are timeless for a reason. So Brett Cooper decided to step in like a superhero and save us from a version of Snow White that, according to her and her fans, isn't really Snow White at all. And then came the twist no one saw coming. The Daily Wire is making their own live-action version, Snow White and the Evil Queen. Guess who's playing Snow White? Yep, Brett Cooper herself. And honestly, she's not bad. Fans loved the trailer, not just for Brett's acting, but because it felt like the classic story they grew up with. Unlike Disney, the Daily Wire kept the dwarfs, not calling them magical creatures, which many appreciated, especially since removing them meant fewer roles for dwarf actors. Of course, the internet split in two. Cooper's fans praised her for standing up to Disney's modern takes, while Disney loyalists accused her of riding a cancel Disney trend to take down Zegler. But here's the real kicker. Disney was so shaken by the backlash that they delayed their movie's release from 2024 to 2025. That's right, a small conservative platform with a YouTube star as Snow White just made $1 billion studio flinch. Now the internet is asking, did David just beat Goliath? Reports say Rachel. Zegler was furious after watching Brett's trailer, thinking hers was way better. But at the end of the day, it's the fans who get to decide. And right now, the hashtag #TeamCooper is trending. Oh, and there's more trouble for Disney. Rumor has it they need to make over $340 million just to break even on the film. With the cost still rising and calls to boycott Disney growing louder. That's not a great look. So, what do you think? Are you Team Zegler or Team Cooper? Let us know in the comments below. Now it looks like Snow White wasn't the only thing crashing. So was Rachel Zegler's relationship with just about everyone involved in the film. Jonah Platt, son of Snow White producer Mark Platt, didn't hold back. In a now-deleted Instagram comment, reported by Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and People, Jonah slammed Zegler for hurting the movie's chances at success. He revealed that his dad had to fly out in person to confront Zegler over her decision to bring politics into the film's press tour. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, Jonah wrote, adding that her actions clearly damaged the movie. Even after that meeting, Zegler kept her controversial posts up for a while, ignoring Disney's panic behind the scenes. Things between Zegler and co-star Gal Gadot also started to unravel. While they seemed friendly during filming, everything got awkward before the movie's release. The two appeared stiff during their Oscars presentation in 2025, and Zegler later made a shady comment online, referring to Gadot as a professional pageant queen. Fans and insiders both saw it as a dig, but there was a deeper divide. Zegler and Gadot reportedly clashed over politics. Zegler posted several pro-Palestine messages during a tense time globally. Gadot, who's from Israel and served in the Israeli army, became a target of online threats. The backlash got so serious that Disney had to pay for extra security for Gadot and her family. One insider explained, Rachel didn't understand the ripple effect. On the film, on Gal, on everything. And that wasn't the end of it. The film was already burning through its $270 million budget, including expensive reshoots and Zegler's constant controversies. But the final straw came after the US presidential election. Zegler posted on Instagram, "May Trump's supporters never know peace." That sent Disney into full meltdown mode. She had just alienated a huge chunk of the audience. In one last attempt to salvage the situation, producer Mark Platt flew out twice to meet with Zegler. Eventually, she agreed to work with a Disney-paid social media consultant to approve all her posts before the movie's release on March 21st. But the drama didn't stop there. Just a day before the movie's release, Zegler posted a glowing tribute on Instagram about her time filming Snow White, calling it life-changing and praising the crew. One big name was missing though, Gal Gadot. No mention, no photos. Fans immediately noticed the snub, especially after everything else that had gone down between them. Maybe it was an accident, but with the Oscar shade and the backstage tension, most people saw it as one more not-so-subtle dig. And if all that controversy wasn't enough, the casting of Zegler as Snow White sparked backlash from the start. Some critics didn't like the idea of a Latina actress playing the traditionally pale-skinned princess. Similar to how Halle Bailey faced criticism for playing Ariel in The Little Mermaid, Zegler responded strongly. In a since-deleted post, she wrote, "Yes, I am Snow White. No, I'm not bleaching my skin for the role." She also slammed her critics as losers obsessed with the bloodline purity of a cartoon princess, according to the Wall Street Journal. That didn't exactly help calm things down. In a 2022 interview with Variety, Zegler admitted she became a trending topic because of angry people online. And in another interview with Extra, she even criticized the original 1937 Snow White, calling it weird for focusing on a love story with a guy who literally stalks her. All in all, between the backlash, the behind-the-scenes drama, and Rachel Zegler's controversial takes, Disney's Snow White never had a fairy tale shot, and the box office results reflect that.